Have you ever gotten to the place where you were bold and confident and you brought your request to the throne? You asked God for something through prayer. You asked your loved one for something through conversation. Maybe you went into your boss office and you asked for your needs to be met. What happens when you get it? I want to know, have you ever experienced asking God for something when He gives it to you and then you're scared about it, right? So in 1978, two psychologists termed something called the imposter phenomenon. Now it's currently known as the imposter syndrome. And basically, what that is it's self-doubting, a doubting of abilities, a doubting of skills, a doubting of accomplishments, right? And so I think that this is something that can also happen outside of the workplace because it's normally something that people think about in the workplace for high achieving individuals. But I'm sure, without a doubt, that this can happen in interpersonal relationships too, right? A self doubting, if you're single, maybe you feel like, oh, nobody's ever going to love me, or I am not going to be successful in a loving relationship. But stay with me because this also can show up, this imposter syndrome in relationships. One partner may truly feel insecure, and how that shows up is through jealousy, through controlling, trying to control the situation, and the sneaky one where imposter feeling self doubting about if this other person really cares about you can show up through comparison. Watch that one because that's sneaky. I do this for you. You don't do that for me. It can really be detrimental. So be very careful with that. But today's inspiration, it is coming from the book of Ruth. Yes, Ruth chapter 2, verses 2 through 10. And this is from the King James Version. By the way, I am so glad that you are here. My name is Flo. I am not a teacher or a preacher. I just love Jesus. And I'm trying to do what He's called me to do. So please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, leave a comment or a prayer request. I really enjoy responding to the comments at the very bottom. Thank you for watching and joining me today. So let's get into this word. Ruth 2, verse 2. I'm going to be looking down because I'm reading. So Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, please let me go to the field and glean heads of grain after him, in whose sight I might find favor. And she said to her, go, my daughter. Then she left and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech. Now, behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said to the reapers, the Lord be with you. And they answered him, the Lord bless you. So then Boaz said to his servant, who was in charge of the reapers, well, who's the young woman? Who is this? So the servant who was in charge of the reapers answered and said, it is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. And she said, please let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and has continued from morning until now, though she rested a little while in the house. Then Boaz said to Ruth, you will listen, my daughter, will you not? Do not go to glean in any other field, nor go from here, but stay close by my young woman. Let your eyes be on the field which they reap, and go after them. Have I not commanded you, the young men, not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels and drink from what the young men have drawn. This was Ruth's response. So she fell on her face, bowed down to the ground, and said to him, why have I found favor in your eyes, that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner? That is a word. Let's break this down. Ruth was a Moabite. She was previously married to Naomi's son. When Naomi's husband and two sons died, they were living in Moab. So when she lost her sons, she lost her husband, she said, I'm going back home. Uh, and she told Ruth, who was married to one of her sons, and she told Orpah, Y'all stay here, stay with your people. I'm going to go back to my people, right? Well, Ruth was so determined not to go and not to stay in Moab. She wanted to go with Naomi. So here she is asking, right? She's bold enough to ask from another person, let me go with you. And this is what she says in chapter 1, entreat me not to leave you or turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go. And wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die. And there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything, but death parts you and me. My God, that is commitment. Woo, we need to be committed to God in that same way. But here she is like asking Naomi, no, 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 no. So she has no problem making a request, right? But I want to know if you see it, because a little further down in chapter 2, Ruth went from being fearless when she asked Naomi to let her go glean and find favor after the gleaners to feeling unworthy when Boaz noticed her and was looking out for her as she was really hoping for. She said, let me go glean so I can find favor, right? So here, when she sees Boaz, and Boaz says, look, when those ladies in the field that are with me glean, you watch them, go after them wherever they go, and stay with my guys. Don't go to any other field, because we're going to look out for you. We're going to leave food for you. We're going to leave water. You're good. She falls on her face, and I am sure that that is a sense of reverence from their culture. Boaz was in a certain position in the family, but it was also a moment of imposter. It was an imposter moment. It was, because she said, why have I found favor in your eyes that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner? Put your I am whatever there. I don't feel worthy because I am what? Person of color. I am a person who hasn't gone to college, or whatever your I am is. You put it there, because Ruth had a moment, right? Now, usually when people think of the story of Ruth and Boaz, they always think of the thing that's highlighted, that Ruth went and got her man, which I'm not mad at that at all, because she finds her courage, or she gets it back. She had a moment of imposter syndrome, but later on in the passage, Ruth is laying at Boaz's feet, and that takes some boldness and some courage to just go lay at his feet. So, but this really does help us, you and me, to understand that even the boldest, the strongest, the most courageous people have self doubting moments, right? Ruth was able to rebound from her imposter moment. So when we have prayed and asked God for something, and He so graciously gives it to us, even if we have a moment of self doubt, if we're scared about, oh, we really getting this? We really got that job? We really got that mate? We really got whatever other opportunity we've been praying for? We have to remember to not make it about us. And I think that's what happens. We get afraid because we're looking at our own abilities. But if God has blessed us, we have to keep our eyes on Jesus. I'm telling you, right? So in Ruth's case, she was asking and gathering food. In fact, I want you to think about how things are not always just about you. There was a moment in the passage after chapter 2, or it still might have been in chapter 2, but Boaz gives Ruth a meal. And instead of Ruth just eating all of that food because she's hungry, she eats just enough to be satiated, to be satisfied. And then she takes the rest back to Naomi, right? And so, what does that tell you and I? God blesses us to be a blessing. So, I really want to encourage you for this week to walk in the boldness of the Lord, receive His blessings, and share them with others. I hope this is an added value to you, and I truly do thank you for watching, and God bless you real good.